Hello! Tak tylko przekazuję. Trochę słabej jakości będzie, niestety.
I had 10 minutes until qualifying started, so I hadn't even warmed up. I'm in my jeans and other stuff, racing this event, and I think I set like my personal best. I had one of the best qualifying laps ever. Had an awesome race, best race of the season to that point. Sometimes just the adrenaline kicks in, you know, you're just on the bubble with it. One thing I'm really fascinated is with F1, how they can be so quick and so on the ball. As Al Sapti, I've been watching him off camera, had a huge moment through the turn 7 hairpin and saves it. Bit of a lock up there, of course, for him too. The one thing I'm very impressed, especially in Formula 1, is how they're just able to jump into the cars with limited practice and limited warm-up.
To be fair, it's a disadvantage that isn't even really considered by these guys most of the time, because you get a lot of time to prepare for events. If it's a long season, then calendars are released, of course, and you can plan your schedule around that. If it's an event like this one, of course, I mean, we had a month's notice, and so people were able to put together their teams, apply, practice, find time to do all of that over 4 weeks. And okay, people have real lives, we understand that. Some of these drivers, of course, excluding Max Verstappen and the BTCC guys, are actually hired by these esports outfits. I mean, certainly the likes of Wisniewski and Brzezinski with Williams, you know, they get paid to do this, and so it's not like they have too many worries on that front. But the good thing about, well, one of the beautiful things about e-racing in general is
Brzezinski, czy dobrze słyszałem?
Come in and race, and they'll do the job because they're on paid contracts. And then you'll have your average who just turns up because
Ale Verstappen jest dopiero 10. Wiśniewski jest 3.
to sit down and put some practice laps in, and then he gets some points at the end of the day. If he's lucky, he gets a podium. If he's talented, he gets a win. And that's so brilliant. And I feel like I can share in that for one of my favorite moments in my, albeit brief and terribly tragic, sim racing career, where I was stuck with the controller for the entirety of it. And
oh God, what are you saying about yourself?
DualShock 3 all the way, and I ended up on this. There was this one race evening. Where was it? It was Zhuhai in Super GT cars in this Honda. And to be fair, I'd had a decent season up until then. I really liked the car. And I took a pole position, and I took 2 poles.
Ale to M8 to jest krowa.
Ever been
Ale wygląda super.
With a controller. And
is this like an under 10s league? Did you fake your age or something?
Oh, no. I was a hot lapper, definitely. But this was back in R Factor 1. And so, here's the thing. In R Factor 2, I could not do anything near the amount of what I could do in R Factor 1. It speaks volumes of how much this sim series has evolved over the years, that I physically can't do racing. On even a DualShock 4. Like, DualShock has evolved as well. I can't do what I used to do. But it was that moment where I was like, despite all the problems, despite the fact that I'm at a disadvantage to everyone, that pole position and 2 podiums in one event was absolutely worth it. And yeah, I didn't even take a win in my career, but in the context, I feel I did very well. A win is what Hani Al Sabdi is aiming for at the moment, though, with the Team Virus squad, and finally he comes into the pits. Thank you.
What a segue there.
I tried my best.
Wisniewski will take the overall lead, of course, as well. We know the Williams esports car.
A coś to możecie wbić na Discorda, bo siedzę na nim.
Longer for their stint, of course, compared to the rest of the field. Al Sabdi sat in the box, hopefully not for too much longer.
To jest McLaren?
Jabba Kiss right now.
Godzinną lotką, what the fuck?
It's coming through Le Mans, so Al Sabdi will have to wait an eternity. Braun takes P2. A pretty sure Kish right now, James, will end up in P1. But will Al Sabdi have the pace in this second stint? I think that's the main question for the LMP2 field. It's going to be awfully close between the two right now at the exit.
You know what? I'd wager that Al Sabdi's ahead. It is, I mean, it was close last time out the pits. And you know what? He's only gone and done it. Hani Al Sabdi and Team Virus retake the lead of the Fanatec Sebring 12 hours. That is a major shift in what has been a fascinating story so far. The strategy that has led Black Hawk Racing to success so far has stumbled. Now,
Ale to pociesznie skaczą te LMP na tych dziurach.
I love it. Kirst is going to get past Bono Haas and then hunt down Hani Al Sabti. Haas, of course, leader of the GT3 field for the McLaren Shadow team. Leader for GTEs are your
To jest połowa krążenia z powietrza dosłownie.
But for LMP2, the lead has changed. Not on the racetrack at the moment, of course, because they are battling for P3 and 4, but your effective lead has transferred itself to Team Virus and Hani Al Sabti there. They will be ecstatic with that. And it occurred, James, basically through an overcut, unintentionally. I'm pretty sure Kish possibly just hit a lot of traffic through his undercut phase. The worst part about this is because Kish pitted about 2-3 laps ago, is that his tire is going to be slower every single lap for the next half an hour. And that means Kish is just going to struggle for these next 30 minutes to reel in Hani Al Sabti ahead.
Well, this overcut strategy has been, what, 6 pit stops in the making? It's finally paid off. Admittedly, it's paid off sooner than I was expecting. I was thinking this was going to be a late game changer potentially for Team Virus. The fact that it's worked as soon as it has is a massive blow to Black Hawk. And you've got to wonder, is the aim now for Black Hawk Racing to just not lose as much time as possible to Al Sabti? I don't see Black Hawk Racing taking the lead again in this.
Generalnie patrzę, że to jest...
Go back to the drawing board.
Bitrate jest tak słaby, że to się mocno rozmazuje. YouTube, kochany. Super ograniczenia, żeś nałożył.
Kevin Ryan into the pit lane. They are last in the LMP2 field, so well, second last, excuse me, of course, because the Alfa tires received some warnings to blue flags earlier, as we discussed. Is that effectively last in that field, still running. Alejandro Lopez takes over for Kevin Ryan in the number 39 Alien Performance vehicle, and they will be out and away, screaming out and away out of the pit lane, of course, soon enough.
Czemu taka słaba jakość?
Ograniczenie YouTube'a. Cześć, Kop. Jak widzisz, w opisie masz link do źródła i tam też jest podobno w sumie. Więc to bez różnicy, tak patrzę. No, może troszkę lepsze jest w tym źródle. Ale YouTube teraz ograniczył bitrate do 3200 chyba. Ja wcześniej używałem 5000, a teraz 3200, to słabo wygląda.
No, of course. I mean, let's assess this situation from the wider context of how this race has gone so far, John. He's essentially back to square one. This car has never looked like it would be completely dropped by the Team Virus.
Tylko teraz widzę, że te skiny się trochę wymazują.
As much as I suspect, then they're looking good. They're still looking fine. They're hanging on to the back. They might not necessarily challenge for the net again.
A to ten wyścig, gdzie Polak jedzie w Williams Esports?
Nie tylko jeden Polak. Polaków jest dużo więcej. Dokładnie Williams Esports jedzie Nikodem Wiśniewski i Kuba Brzeziński w klasie LMP2. W GT mamy Zbigniewa Siarę, Grzegorza Błota, Adama Karuszewskiego. W teamie Sekora Racing, Sim Racing Poland Team. No i tyle.
Team Virus has almost rode the wave like a surfer. It's crashed onto the shore, and now we've got to go out and.
Tak naprawdę mamy Polaków w LMP2 i w GTA.
Whoever's back there thinking up of the strategy, they've got to try and create that new opportunity, that new wave to propel themselves back up into P1.
So. While that's all going on, Max first.
Pierdziele, jak patrzę na te samochody i tak na tych dziurach skaczą, tam są takie dziury.
He's out and away is Mr. Verstappen. And it's good to see him racing out here today. For the Jimmy Broadbent fans out there still wondering what's going on, that car was out
O
of
Verstappenie się nie wypowiem. Max atak. Dosłowny. Na innych tych, no, na innych zawodników.
Yeah, just not the event that they wanted, of course, too. So they'll be looking for possibly, if any other further Studio 397 run endurance events, they'll be looking to re-enter and make amends for what happened today. Now, back to Nico Barclay in P6. He's got Michi Hoyer up ahead. He's through the main straight right now, James. And Michi Hoyer under an immense amount of pressure right now from that man in the 180 car.
Reminder that this for net P3 is there was a BMW off in the grass there. We weren't worrying too much into the battle for, as I say, net P3 is very much on. Nico Barclay, my apologies, in the car now for the 1ACO team. Looking racy, looking pacey. Is he going to launch a move into the hairpin? No, he thinks about it. Potentially. He's not the type of driver to stick his nose in where it's not welcome either. And Michi Hoyer, certainly on the basis of this race, has been more than happy to stick his own elbows out. So I feel like Nico Barclay is going to have to do this one on pure pace alone. He's going to need to put Michi Hoyer in such a compromising position that he will be unable to resist the drag down into a lower position that Nico Barclay will offer. It's a nice apex cut there though from Michi Hoyer, which gives him a little bit of rest from the Peruvian. Again, one of these guys who's just been in the endurance scene for so long, Nico Barclay, that he's been here, done that, and got the trophies. He'll have been here 100 times before and know exactly what to do.
That was sneaky by Michi. His teammate Jurne Simencic, one of my favorite teammates of all time.
A, kurde, mogę to w ten sposób zrobić. Right. Odkryłem nową super opcję w tym. No, odkryłem nową super opcję. Łącz interakcję. Jep. Można tak zrobić, super. Dobrze, że to odkryłem. Żeby mnie trochę lepiej wyglądać.
If you are in equal cars, you know, you do develop your own setup, and there's a whole lot of other stuff going on. Not sure if I'm having server issues right now, if it is.
Jest zdecydowanie lepiej.
Siemano.
Cześć.
Is all good?
Cześć, Statkorn.
Just...
Oglądamy sobie Polaków, jak sobie radzą. Ja oglądam. Do tej porze to chyba nikt nie będzie raczej.
In P7, and he's right on the back of this train for what we believe to be the podium. I've also been informed that Nikodem Wisniewski and Williams.
Nic, no leci sobie powoli. Muszę wysłać zdjęcia do Fanateka, tego co potrzebuję, ale tego nie zrobiłem.
I don't think they are going to make it because they're still trying to cover off Black Hawk. Williams, I can believe they can do that. And so with the pace they're showing, even despite the wrong setup option.
Nie, teraz wygląda lepiej, dużo. Nie wiedziałem wcześniej, że można włączyć interakcję z tym, co się tam puszcza. Fajnie. Bardzo dużo mi to pomoże później.
That's something that will come into play, like you said. I'm really hoping there ain't too much server issues going on right now. There's certainly issues on my end locally, so hoping this isn't affecting some of the drivers too. Sometimes you can be in there in the car and it starts to throw you off the rhythm. You start to wonder about things going on unrelated to just focusing on driving and producing quick lap times, of course. Nico Barclay, Wisniewski, both out of the pits, of course, too, recently. So quick pit stops for them. Now, here's the thing. I think Barclay, it's Hoyer, Barclay...
No, Barclay's in the pits now.
Jeszcze 7 godzin będzie się to ciągnąć. Łops. Trochę długo. Nie wiem, czy cały będą transmitować w sumie. Nie wyobrażam sobie, że komentatorzy siedzieli ponad 12 godzin, albo nawet te 7.
podium battle. He's most certainly in the podium battle, looking up the inside.
Czy nie są jakieś ten?
Richie Hoyer there into
Jakieś
the
link z
right
wynikami?
hander, through the left hander we swing. He's fresh out the
Multiswing.
pits. He's got some rubber to burn, and goodness me, Nikodem Wisniewski, Williams Esports, third most certainly is on the cards, and much in the same vein as I was surprised that Team Virus's strategy worked.
Chyba nie ma za bardzo nic,
I'm surprised
że można było podejrzeć, czy dokładniejsze tabelki.
Świetny film na temat rajdu. Kocham to ze skin z i20R5 pasował bez edycji i do i20 WRC i wygląda kozacko. Może nagram i wrzucę jak będę mieć chwilę. Kurwa, znowu Zero spisuje.
Nie no, spoko, rozpisuj się, chociaż ktoś tu będzie pisał cokolwiek. Jak to skin 05 pasował do WRC? Wow, do tego się nie spodziewałem troszkę.
Richie Hoyer's hung on so far. Hung on. Now, in a reverse situation to what I believe to be the case of Team Virus, and as much as I love Mitchie, and I respect him hugely as a driver, in terms of pace and consistency, I'd honestly say he's the weak link. Because the other two in that car
Jak to wygląda?
and Alex Siebel. And those
Trochę nie do końca rozumiem tę tabelę.
Alex Siebel is in this
Bo na pewno to nie są wszystkie teamy.
That's my bad. Yes. So Alex Siebel is. Has he jumped into this race so far? Just to refresh my memory.
He has not driven so far. It was Simic from the off, and Hoyer has taken the second step.
So who knows when they'll use Siebel? He could just be at. He might not even be there at the moment. Like, the thing I find weird is if you have like a. If you're just sitting to the side, like, are you watching the race the entire time? Any endurance race I would like watch TV shows and stuff and pretend that I was helping my teammate out. They'd be like, oh, what's the lap time of this driver? I just press pause to the TV show, just give him the lap time like I was concentrating the whole time, and then go back to watching the show. Maybe Siebel's doing that, or maybe he has other commitments, who knows, but I think they're committed.
Podobno broadband jedzie.
I really respect those drivers in endurance events who are there the entire 12 hours, engaged, looking, have that attention span. It's just so difficult, you know, as a human being to get done.
Well, it's all about the team spirit as well. You know, it's one of those things where it's always better when you have your friends supporting you. And more importantly, even
tak, z DS3R5 na WRC tak samo. Prawie ten sam template z wyjątkiem loga na grillu i spoilera, ale tak to pasował idealnie na budzie.
Don't really care much about sharing setups or, you know, giving you leeway on track. It's nice to have support and knowing that you've got that support back in the garage. If you make a spin, if they're there to say, listen, you're good, don't worry, keep on going, it makes all the difference.
The worst teammates I've had, as I said, are people who just haven't gotten over themselves. It's a personality thing though as well. I think I remember I had a teammate once who treated it like it was real life.
Dawaj bra na klawie challenge i bądź jak Stanford, hehehe.
Nie, weź nie bądźmy klawą.
What I'm watching right now is Wisniewski hunting down Hoyer, which is why I can see Hoyer struggling with the traffic up ahead. But yeah, those teammates I had.
Jeżeli on to w ogóle robisz tam, żeby się tym dobrze bawić, a nie...
After the race for not letting them through and giving this sense of arrogance. Sim racing's a team sport. You're supposed to get along with your teammates around you. You're supposed to work on the setup together, do all that kind of stuff. You're supposed to get along. It's not like the real world where you have to beat your teammate to look good. It works different, you know, in this element. And I think what happened was, from like 2002, oh my goodness, Hoyer is, oh, contact, car into the wall, I think, as well with Hoyer.
And it's over.
Oh, goodness.
I'm going to try and rush my way through. In all of this, of course, Wisniewski has taken third position, so that was a bit of a freebie. I'm just screaming through. So it's a Sedlasek, unfortunately, there.
Ja nie wziąłem wody, fuck.
Currently for Team RGPL. I'll go back and have a look at how that transpired, actually, because I can't understand how it did occur.
That's ridiculous. To me, oh, I mean, looking back on it, this is going to be a tough one to judge, but I mean, Hoyer was ultra aggressive, but Sedlak wasn't any easier to overtake. I really don't want to comment on this. I know it sounds like a cop-out, but Hoyer, again, just going up the inside. I mean, I don't know if he was entering the pit lane or something else was going on. It's just the trouble with lap cars and different speeds.
The end result is that they shouldn't have been in that position. I can't help but feel like Hoyer was a bit too eager. But then again, that's why we have race directors, and that's why we have moderators who are looking at these things and deciding for us, because they ultimately will be the letter of the law. They'll decide if anything is particularly wrong with that one.
The issue I have is, okay, Hoyer was extremely aggressive. I mean, went off the racetrack to make the move there at Sunset Bend. Didn't want to lose any time because he knows he's in a scrap with Wisniewski. Now, ironically, he's lost that third position to Nikodem in the Williams Esports car. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure if Sedlacek had a bit of contact or if Sedlacek was trying to enter the pit lane because he sort of
Sed,
the inside a lot more than he
napraw
expected.
to,
So
co
it's
masz
just a
do naprawy
very
i
unfortunate
dawaj, bo
situation
lubię
that definitely
patrzeć
could
i
have been
czekać, aż
I
w
think in
cos
the
na
situation
Ozzy
that Hoyer was
walniesz.
in, I can understand why he's being ultra aggressive to the inside. He's trying to fight to keep that third position.
Either way, Williams fans rejoice.
Kiedyś naprawię, jak dojdą części.
Car on the podium.
O ile w ogóle
And
będą
certainly on the
mieli
strategy
takie
they're
części.
attempting here,
O.
that could very much remain.
LMP z kierownicą po lewej stronie. Mój świat się skończył. Autentycznie. Jeszcze nie widziałem LMP, który miał kierownicą po lewej stronie. Czy mnie dziwi się, że LMP nie mają centralnie kierownicy jak F1. Byłoby znacznie więcej... to może to by jeszcze bardziej poprawić, chyba, nie wiem.
Involves Mitchie Hoyer again. First it was Wisniewski, now Matthew Beavis has gotten interested.
I like it. Beavis has been lurking around, hasn't he, in that fifth position for most of the event. I think Hoyer right now is Stefan Schlacker behind the scenes. He's been giving us comments throughout the event. He's really dropping off the pace of the Williams, he says, and he thinks Hoyer sustained some, maybe not terminal damage, but definitely some damage that's affected that car. So whether or not it can be repaired is something that the ACR Zaxby team will need to think about, of course. But Hoyer, he's struggling through Sunset Bend as well, runs a bit deep. They certainly damaged that car. He's lost some rhythm. Doesn't look
oh, shit. Sorry.
Both he, Siebel and Simoncic.
Dobra, a ja pójdę powoli chyba rozbierać to, co mam rozebrać i złożyć. Muszę je z tym do mości zmontować.
Circumstances that they hoped for here, almost 5 hours into the event.
No, absolutely, it is.
Więc już powoli hit filmu odpalę do montażu.
Our number 6 very soon, the halfway point of what has been a fascinating race so far. And the battle on your screens right now, ACR Zaxby versus Team Rookie Monsters, which, let's have a shout out to this team. Incredible job so far. To be in the top 5 in itself.
Oj.
Jakbym miał na donatę i mogł robić rajdy, to bym rajda odjebał.
Brilliant work to be challenging for P4, not too far away from P3. Is an exceptional drive so far.
Tam 36 czy 38 zyta. Trochę mi się zmuliło chyba. Ale to jest procek mnie trochę dostanie po dupie. Przecież montaż.
Probably just looking to get his stint done and over with now, rather than looking to move on up the order. Onto the Ullman straight we go then, and that's a nice exit from Beavis, just ever so slightly clipping the dust on exit. Gets as much pace out of there as possible, but Mitchie Hoyer in, coming up to Bono Hues there, the leader of the GTE or GT3 category, I should say, probably. Just picking up a little bit of slipstream helps in the defense. And that was a wide berth on Sunset Bend again, but it keeps him ahead on this lap.
Bonahas he's not out there publicly, but he's one of the best dudes you can know behind the scenes. He keeps to himself, but he's one of those guys where I think the best example is for any NBA fans out there, Greg Popovich, coaching the NBA. Nothing like what you see publicly. Popovich looks like this sort of angry dude out there publicly, hates everybody, all this kind of stuff, yelling at people, but behind the scenes he's like the most caring.
Jak coś, to stream będzie do 17 i później demontować, może jeszcze wróci stream z czegoś, ale jeszcze nie wiem. Też nie wiem, czy już po prostu nie będzie mnie do tej 20-21, jak sobie puszczę coś innego.
And the hardest of those, I think, personally, James, was the one in 2014 where I think Morgan
Ale to leci do 17.
Where's that guy gone? I mean, yeah, Morgan Moran that season was unstoppable. How he
Nie wiem, e-sport jest 6. I dobrze to patrzę.
There for Beavis and just saves the car, but he's lost about a second. So
tak nieźle. Na tyle osób, ile tu jest? W sumie teamów?
Morgan Moran back in that year was it was like a Hamilton 07 type of situation. You know, and Lewis Hamilton should have won that world championship. I guess his inexperience came into play, the whole China incident, but how Bonahas got that 5th world championship is beyond me. And then his career's really set off from there. You know, he's switched sims, he's won the Visa Vegas E race. Place, of course, he was absolutely dominant. He's just a guy that I think.
No jest Matthew. Kurde, Matthew, co nie mówisz, że jedziesz tym?
You have your Gregor Hutus, all these types of guys. Haas will be up there at least for top 3 of all time, I think, when he sort of hangs up the virtual helmet.
He's a legend of the scene, isn't he? He's one of those people who was at the top of the game when it was sim racing, and he's at the top of the game now.
A widziałeś przelot mojej C3?
Jeszcze nie w sumie.
Trust that he is he's a good lad from everything that people have told me, at least. There's a few more fitters, Mateus is in, it looks like there's another change down at Musto, with Brioni back in the car. It appears that we might have another retirement.
Oh, David Serra.
Oh, David Serra, yeah, who looks to have retired. Hopefully not our 5th of the day, hopefully that's just a momentary lapse for TV server.
Well, let me tell you, the last time
Aulus X399 Gaming 7. Ojej, jaka nazwa płyty
Well, maybe not, because Sarah entered the pits. Funnily enough, we're hearing word of this right now.
Ja jestem zainteresowany płytami pod Threadrippera. Team Intel, Team Nvidia.
Basically a half a second pit stop, so something's gone wrong, and then after that, yeah, we're not sure what's happened to David Serra. He was driving.
Jakby ktoś nie wiedział, o co chodzi, to wyskoczyło mi powiadomienie, że test płyty głównej. Znaczy film.
Something gone wrong for him, James, I think. But yeah, hopefully we get some news on the situation with David Serra.
Potentially looking to join our ever-growing retirement list now, including the ACR Zaxby GT3 entry, the GTE once-time leaders in Team Redline, the once-time GT3 leaders in Team Zero, and of course that GNS entry held by Jimmy Broadbent, which just never got going in the first half hour. Matthew Beavis now back on it after that slight hiccup in the middle sector a couple of laps ago. Michi Hoyer is back under the cosh, really attacking those curves aggressively, much more so than Matthew Beavis, despite the mistake looking the calmer of the 2 drivers as we pass the 300-minute mark.
Yeah, so 7 hours to go in this event. Thanks for joining us as well, whether you are watching on YouTube, Twitch TV or Facebook, whether it's Studio 397's YouTube page, R Factor Live on Twitch TV, or even R Factor 2 on Facebook, of course, as well. You're watching the Fanatec 12 hours of
Sed. Tylko ja mam dziatak ze nic mnie zi nie chce.
Nie zadzi się? No nic nie rób. Czy ja wiem, czy mi się nic nie chce? Chcę mi się pojeździć. Ale będzie drewno, jeżeli w ogóle wrócę. Ja pierdzielę. Wszystko od początku. Ale ciśnie. Czemu tu nie ma lampa 1? Zepsuły się już?
Bono and the McLaren Shadow team, they're effectively leaders of that GT3 field, of course, as we said, but not currently.
Yes, they literally pitted a couple of laps ago, so most certainly.
Nice.
Yeah, so brilliant event for those guys so far. I think for me, seeing Hani Al-Sabti up ahead, the situation with him, James, of course, just to update the viewers, was had some great pace for the past basically 90 minutes of this event, hunted down Shaba Kish. But unfortunately for Al-Sabti, the move wasn't made on the racetrack. Well, actually, it's fortunate for
Ja czekam na tel, bo nowa sofa wjeżdża mi na chatę.
Happened during the pit stop.
No.
It was an overcut for those two. Brilliant to see the lead change. Now that lead has been extracted exponentially.
Bardziej pojemna? Większa? Godniejsza?
Not as big as Team Virus would want though, because that gap hasn't ever been
Albo z domu.
than 5 seconds either. To be fair to Shabakish, although him and Black Hawk Racing have lost the lead, it's not the end of the world. They are effectively back at square one, where they were in the first stint of this race, where their pace was comfortable, not necessarily closing in on the lead, although with a little wiggle like that, I say a little wiggle, that was a potentially race ruiner for Kish. An excellent save there, but rather telling of the state of the tyres, and you'll see in the pits now is Frammy Autosport. That has become our almost keynote for a brand new pit stop phase, and this wonderful rivalry in race between Al-Sabti and Kish, I think is about to come to an end. I think we're about to get our next driver swaps. The ball is
Go.
Black Hawk's court. Where do they go from here? Do they extend this stint? Do they just continue with what they've been doing? Will the drivers be the difference?
No ale widać jak wypada polska stawka w stosunku do świata.
Until they reveal themselves over the next 7 hours. It's frustrating yet exciting at the same time.
Exactly.
Po wymiarach, jak ja u ciotki mierzylim, to na styk wejdziem z nią na 3 piętro i będą 2 cm zapasu w drzwiach. Na styk.
Ale nie to w sumie teraz są dnie ciepłe w ogóle.
McLaren 720S, 650S. Estimate advantage, and I think the last car we have
WGL chyba nowego FP zrobię, bo NWM jak, ale mi FP z Face'a zwinął.
Ale jak to zwinął? Face nie usuwa fanpage, jak go sam nie usuniesz. Nawet jak go byś teraz, mając jakichś fanów, wziął usunąć, po 2 tygodniach musi minąć 2 tygodnie, wtedy musisz jeszcze raz zatwierdzić, że chcesz na pewno go usunąć. On sam nie usuwa fanpage'y. Ja myślałem nad założeniem fanpage'a, ale przecież mam Slide Drift Team fanpage.
I've got to give a fair shout out to the McLaren 720 as well. I mean, that's a gorgeous looking car. The Bentley, which isn't featured here today, oh, it's a barge of a car, but goodness me, does it.
Dobra, no to oglądajcie. A ja idę zrobić to, co mam zrobić na dzisiaj. Potem zmontuję film, trochę treningu fizycznego. Jest bardzo mi potrzebny i nie wiem, o 20 chyba uda mi się odpalić, o 21 jakiegoś streama kolejnego. Tylko już z tego, jak ja będę grał, a nie streamował jakiś tam kogoś granie.
we've seen some Bentley options.
Znaczy na czat będę patrzył na jakiś czas.
GT3 pack, the McLaren and the Aston Martin, part of the GT3 Challengers pack, of course, racing here at Sebring, all of which are available DLC on our
Także tak.
store on Steam. Go check it out. And if you are looking at R Factor 2 and thinking, oh, where on earth do I get started? Well, heading onto that Steam page, you'll be able to find the demo for R Factor 2 as well.
Trzeba to wszystko porozbierać. Nie wiem, jak będzie łapać, że ja coś tu gadam. Pewnie dosyć słabo, ale... Znaczy, łapać będzie, ale będzie to słuchać jak z Warszawy.
We'll have to wait to see who's waiting. Because he's got 3 teammates out there.
Zaraz będę.
Trying to see whether or not one of his teammates is waiting in the paddock right now. It'll either be Daniel Wisner, Balazar Zvaro, or Marcel Sissing. But Marcel could be jumping into the car. Marcel's waiting in the paddock. So who knows whether that will take into effect. Just to give her a little bit of a fresh blood to the Black Hawk racing car. And who knows if they can reel in the car ahead of Hani Al Sapti, who's driven splendidly since he jumped in to that car right there, the Team Virus car. I knew, by the way, when I asked that which your favorite car is, I knew Neil Heatley would come up with an awesome comment. He says he loves the Bentley because you can't pass it due to it being a 270 km/h country mansion. I love it.
He's not wrong.
Best analogy in history.
And we have our answer. Marcel Shinshik in for a second stint. He led them in qualifying. And he's out again. And he slots back into a lot of traffic. He'll be easily disposed with as the sun sets here in virtual Sebring. You can see it reflecting off the surface. So imagine the headlights will be coming on across all cars sooner rather than later. What's your move, Virus? Which driver, if any, have you got up your sleeve to respond to this? Because Shinshik had an incredibly impressive first stint. It was Shinshik who took the lead of the race through the pit stops, maybe refreshed after a long break. We'll be looking to re-establish that lead.
For sure. This needs to get in a bit of a rhythm right now. The best way to do it is sometimes you might be lapping offline. That's a way to do it, of course, as well. And just to build the muscle.
No, but
yes, what that really helps is, I remember, as Verstappen right now makes his way back up into the 10th position. By the way, just keep you updated before I speak about.
Będzie trochę ciężkie, znaczy ciężkie.
In the one move car, quite rapidly, about 1 or 2 seconds a lap, finally makes his way past. So next on Team Redline is the Motorsports car, 360 Motorsports car of Jamie Tatui, who is in the 9th position.
Opaki nie są idealne. Są tak tajlowe. Są magnetyczne. Nie było, no.
For a lot of lap traffic to help as well, but he'll have to really put his head down for this next hour just to reel in one position, of course, as well. What was I on about before? I've already lost my point.
So we were talking about Shinshik coming into the car.
Oh, yeah.
Sapti potentially switching out.
I've been in sessions before where we did knockout qualifying. You have to sit in the pit sometimes, especially if you were the last out of like 10 drivers. You wouldn't, your muscle memory wouldn't be active, and you'd sort of cool down a little bit, if that makes sense. Any driver knows what I'm speaking about. For about 10 to 15 minutes. And what I used to do was, when P4, P3 would start to lap, and let's say I was the P1 driver, for example, I just start to watch them, but mirror the pedals and the steering movements to them, just to keep in a bit of warming up, keeping active, get the muscle memory going with the racetrack. But then again, you know, for Shinjing right now, he's warmed up, he's ready to go, you do what you're going to do offline, and then you take it to the real world online. Build that rhythm. You know, he's got a clear track, which is exactly what you want heading back out there in an endurance event. You know, you don't want to come out with a little bit of a battle straight away, you just want to get into rhythm as soon as possible.
Interesting that they stuck with their strategy as well. I mean, we saw that at the end of his stint, Kish almost lost the car, so it's fair to say that he was at the end of his tether. turret center.
Odinduszone.
Yeah. I just wonder when they're trying to get Virez and in trying to jump the gun on them, they put themselves in a compromising stops because there's only so much you can do. There's only so far that you can take it. And I feel like Virez have got a pretty good handle on them as well. There's been a change in the rookie monsters as well. Replacing that means incredibly good job, to be fair. Brilliant stint from him. BMW almost ramming into the back of Andonovski as he heads through Sunset Bend. But we eagerly await now Hani Al-Sabdi, and that Team Virus car continues on rather comfortably. And it is a fascinating position to be in, isn't it? Because for 5 or so pit stops in a row, this undercut from Blackhawk worked time and time again. They gained time on Virez, and then the latest pit stop, complete role reversal. So why shouldn't they think that an overcut won't work again?
It's a great question. Something that Michi Hoyer can think about, because he's got a 60-second stop and go penalty for avoidable contact, and that was what happened at Sunset Bend, wasn't it, James? As he tried to slice up the inside of one of the GTEs and unfortunately fell into trouble. He's now into the pit lane, serving that stop and go instantly. He'll certainly be pissed off with that, because the thing with Michi Hoyer right now is they were within 25 to 30 seconds of the lead for this entire event, that ACR Zaxpeed car. Wow, they have a lot of work to do for the rest of this event.
And of course, we have the wild card, that's the Williams in there. Of course, before this pit stop phase, Williams was third on track, but we're expecting them to actually gain a pit stop over everyone else with the strategy that they're on. I talk about securing third. Is second
Dobra, ja to przeczyszczę.
a possibility? I mean, a full pit stop advantage. Let's keep in mind, they are 21 seconds behind net race leader Hani Al-Sabri, who actually, as we speak, just comes into the pits.
Like I told you, they'll get used to that car the further this event progresses, as Hani Al-Sabri pits, like you said. So, to me, they've got the talent, they've got the adaptability, they've got the consistency. Oh, goodness, Hoyer gets a huge tap behind, by the way, as he rejoins the racetrack. That was from Bono Haas, who... tricky situation. Hoyer's so slow out there on the racetrack. Something's wrong with Michi Hoyer's car, by the way. Let's have a look at this, because Bono Haas, lucky that his race didn't end. Remember, he is the leader of the GT3 field. Oh, yeah, Hoyer is out there quite slow right now.
That's something very wrong with that ACR Zaxpeed car. Crawling to a halt. Oh dear. What has happened here? We've already had one ACR out the race. The GT3 entry. Now
that's odd.
That's real odd. The car that was so comfortably in the podium for so long only recently lost it in the past half hour or so.
So, I'm not really sure what's going on with Hoyer's car right now as well. Maybe he doesn't even have enough fuel. Is there something going on as well? Because to me, unless he's in neutral for this car, he can't even steer it and keep it on the racetrack. He's probably trying to maintain minimum speed. Certainly something going on right now. Patayas doesn't know where to go in his teammate's car. I think he might be trying to give him a push here. This is quite a hilarious situation. No, he's just trying to go around.
So he's held up his own teammate as well. What is going on? By the way, battles resume from the first in. Erhan Yuyovsky comes in for Hani Al-Sabdi. So, deja vu, very much so. And for the first time this race, I believe, Nikodim Wisniewski and Williams Esports takes the lead. And I don't even know whether to call this net or not, because of the potential of that potential extra, the extra pit stop to go.
Yeah, that's a weird situation right there. Where's Erhan Yojovski? Yojovski's back in the car as well after sitting in the comment section.
Wait,
quite
so
some time.
Blackhawk's back in the lead?
Yep.
Completely missed that. I apologize, viewers. Yeah, so Blackhawk's back in the lead. Yojovski, P4, 5 seconds. So that's been an overturn of 10 seconds overall.
Yeah, Sinsing has driven well, of course, too. In the 1 minute 45s is Marcel. So you get Marcel back in the car. He's lapping away quite quickly. Remember that the fastest lap of the event so far is through that Blackhawk car. They've said a 1 minute 45.
Aluminium.
No one has been faster than them at this event. So to have Marcel back in the car is ultra important to the Blackhawk racing team, and that's going to cause trouble for Williams Esports, Team Virus, all these other teams out there trying to make their way up the order.
I'm hearing that apparently they got assigned a penalty on their last.
O kurde, jaki fokus.
Couldn't make their pit stop. So what I apologize.
You can't reject the penalty.
Like, this is what I think. It seems super confusing. It seems more confusing than it should be. But from what I understand, Mitch Hoyer had to pit for fuel. But he had to serve his stop-go first. And so the reason why he's been crawling around the last lap is because he was literally on fumes. That's potentially why Bateas as well was so slow. He might have had to push Mitchy Hoyer back into the pit lane, of which there has been a driver switch. Alex Siebel now steps into the car. But that ACR Zach Speed car that was challenging for the podium is a long, long, long and arduous way back now. 2 laps down from race leaders, Nikitin Wisniewski and Williams Esports.
Oh, wow. So Hoyer won't be pleased with that. I'm having a look at his stream, and he's he's pretty disappointed with it, of course, as well. He's not pleased with the whole situation that occurred these past few laps. So Hoyer will be fuming. That's probably why I think I find it funny. I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing with him. But that's why I wouldn't really stream my races. Situations like these where I just want to do stuff that's embarrassing and throw things against the wall and stuff like that. But Hoyer's acting quite professional, to be honest with you. I'd be fuming if I was him, ironically, running on fumes.
It must be mentioned as well that it is possible, with the correct settings in R-Factor 2, to be able to serve the stop-go penalty and get service in the same pit stop. For this race, that's evidently not the case. You have to serve the penalty first. Only then can you get service, and it has to be in a subsequent pit stop. Those penalties mean, they mean business.
Yeah, I used to do that back in the F1 challenge days. Pre-R-Factor, R-Factor's grandfather, or grandmother, grandparent, let's just keep it generic. So, back in those days, used to do the same thing, you know, and now this sim has sort of evolved from that, of course, back in the day. And, yeah, it's, well, unfortunate for Hoyer. You know, these are different rules, different events. Rodding and halt, though, for your GT3s coming through Sunset Bend. They're in a tight little scrap right now. They are, of course, battling for P2 overall in your GT3 class as well.
A big prize money difference, of course.
Yes, for sure. Oh, and have a look at the battle, of course. Holt goes defensive through the inside, but rotting all over the rear end, of course, as well. Has to back off the throttle because he creeps in so close to the rear end there of that fair racing team car of Paul Holt. Rotting through the first sector, has to widen his line, force Holt offline, take something different, of course, to the driver. And for Kevin Rodding in that Scuderia Leone car, he's going to search for a move here into the hairpin at turn 7, but he's going to expect a hot Paul Holt to defend the inside, possibly.
Tylko tego to jest najgorsza rzecz,
Wasn't
może
confident
jest
enough to go for that later braking move, so we'll remain behind him for now. Still looking to harry and hassle.
Boję się, co będzie ze składanym.
Give all hell along. Kevin Rodding looks to the outside now. Looks but Paul Holt under pressure, taking a shorter line, which puts him on the inside of. That was a good actually cut back to make sure that he got the inside line there. Could have potentially put himself in harm's way. Roting once again, looking to the outside, looking to go all the way around the outside. Gets a little bit wiggly on exit, but it's still
O kurde! A widzę, że mu akcja mi omija, dobra.
Holding on, however, from this beautifully liveried Scuderia Leon. Into the Le Mans section we head now. Definitely rotating in the ascendancy. Just looking to set himself up nicely now. But again, this is where the Corvette really exceeds. As we see Shiznik behind as well, he'll be looking to lap these two on his pursuit forward. Remember, potentially our net race leader now is Shiznik, and great to see those two getting out of the way, both of them taking the wider line. Through goes the Black Hawk Racing driver. That's excellent from both of those. Super respectful, and battle resumes without the LMP in their way.
I've become a fan of Shiznik. Marcel is driven splendidly throughout this whole event so far, and we're almost 6 hours through, almost halfway through this event here, just about half an hour to that halfway mark. But Rotting, he had him, didn't he? He had Holt under pressure. They've got a couple of LMP2 cars behind here. Yayovsky's going to try and find his way past. Don't think he'll affect the scrap here. Holt is struggling, though, in the traction zones. He's really losing traction. The rear end isn't planted as much as it should be. Rotting, though, is going to be forceful up the inside and make a move here into the turn 7 hairpin. Holt, we know, is strong on the brakes, but Rotting should have the traction on the exit and just barges his way past Paul Holt for P2.
Lovely, it was forceful, it was to the point in where the Corvette is super nice to handle in the straights. It has a lot of grunt. Getting up to that grunt is difficult, so slow speed corners, the heaviness, the weightiness of the back wheels really bogs it down, and you could see that. It was why Roting was able to pull away so quickly, so sharply from his rival. And P2 is Scuderia Leon's. As further up the order, in comes Williams Esports. Nikodem Wisniewski returns to the pits for yet another stop, and so Devin Brown then will take the lead for Hydra Esports. So again, Williams, we believe, playing a very long game, the fruits of which we'll only see in potentially the final couple of hours. They're looking to gain one pit stop on everyone else. And as for now, that does not guarantee them net lead. Yayovsky is through. And now Nikodem Wisniewski leaves the pits. He is going to be comfortably in net P3. There's a lot of hard work ahead for these boys, however. Wisniewski, Brzezinski.
Lubię imbusów, strasznie się wrzynają przy mocnym kręceniu.
For sure. Nothing goes to plan, does it, in the real world? I've learned that. I've had a rough few weeks. So, about to be making adjustments out in the real world as well. Marcel Sinsink, has he made his... I thought you went off the racetrack there, but no, I'm wrong with that. He's just made his way past a couple of lap cars, so he's not having the most of times at the moment. The Hydra Esports P1 yet to pit, so we know, of course,
Kaczka O'Connor said, co to?
Milan and Boya, no driver switch, I think.
Cześć Kaczka, to jest stream z tego, co masz w tytule. Czyli 12 Hours of Sebring. Streamuję to, bo jadę u Nasi. Że wiesz.
And with the exception, we're going to ignore Hydra Esport for now. They're doing a great job leading. Good for you guys, but we're going to be looking at net lead.
W opisie jest link do oryginału jak coś.
And the net lead so far of this race goes to
Ale jakoś będzie tak samo słabo.
A very big scare in the previous stint when Team Virez retook the lead after securing pole position.
Przy okazji ja tu grzebię się w swoich rzeczach.
After brilliant stints from Kish and from Al Sabdi, the Black Hawk and Virez cars respectively. It is Yayovsky and Shinsink back in the saddles, and Black Hawk Racing has retaken the lead. Williams Esports currently occupying that final podium position. Nikolai Wisniewski and Kuba Brzezinski, we believe, attempting a rather interesting strategy which could see them with a pit stop advantage over everyone else. If anybody can do it, it will be them. And if they are able
Kaczka
to do
O'Connor,
it, that puts them
said,
in serious
jesteś na
contention
disku.
for a win, let alone securing a podium. In the GTE class, Musto Racing are back in the lead. Mostly thanks to the problems of others around them. Of course, Team Redline earlier in the race had a problem at the driver switchover between Rudy Van Buren and Van Doren.
Na disku jestem, ale jestem wyciszony, zaraz mogę wrócić, ale to jest za chwilę. Ja tu rozmontuję i zrobię fotki.
I believe with the...
No jest pan co to się schowało w wszystkich narzędziach, czyli nigdy ten.
I can't remember who it was with. I don't know back in the lead with Brioni. The number 20 Zancho car of James Johnson currently occupying second in that class, and the Deuces Motorsport Club, who've been quiet but moving their way up the order with Eric Schmeider. He's currently third in class. In GT3, Bono Hueson, the McLaren Shadow
Kaczka O'Connor,
they currently occupy
said,
P1, and it's been
okay.
a brilliant battle for the podium position. Such a closely competitive field, these guys. Currently, Scuderia Leon with Kevin Roting and Fair Racing Team with Paul Holt occupying those final podium position retirements. So far, there have been 5 of them, so in the form of the GNS squad, the Team Zero squad, Team Redline's GTE entry, ACR Zaxby's GT3 entry, and most recently, David Serra and the SRF team also in the GTE category.
Kaczka O'Connor, said, jakby co to ja już jestem.
Okej, ja to zaraz tylko wymontuję, jakby się uda szybko to zrobić. Czuję, że to będzie ciężka robota. Tylko, że są w takich miejscach kable gdzieś przewlecone i nie wyjęć. Masakra.
Certainly a lot of time to make up. Devin Braun for LMP2 enters the pits, sacrifices the lead to Marcel and the Black Hawk Racing team. It is so tight, isn't it, the gap there? Look at Williams Esports here, James. 14 seconds away from overall lead. I like this.
Again, reports through as well that they are heavily considering abandoning the extra pit stop strategy because of how close they are to the leaders. I mean, to be fair, it's a bit of a false gap here, that gap was taken from Devin Braun and not Marcel Shinsin. So I think they are some 30, 40 seconds off the lead. To be fair, let's take a shout out to Hydra Esport here, who have come out in P4 and some 10 seconds clear of the Team Rookie Monsters outfit with Timotei and they're doing very nicely indeed.
I love these team names because the one thing especially with my podcast and other stuff, is finding a name for things or naming things, like a business. People who are business owners will struggle with this. Finding a name or naming things is the hardest thing in the world. Like, where did Team Rookie Monsters come from? Did they watch like Space Jam or something and like come up with something similar? Like, I don't know. Williams Esports is easy. I mean, obviously Williams F1 and Esports, it's nothing interesting there. So I like how you come up with these teams as well. Like Avid Chronic Racing. I want to know how Avid Chronic Racing came up with the name. This is all stuff that needs to be exposed. When you go to the about page of teams, I feel like this should be number 1 in the about section. How we came up with a name.
Mine was pretty easy actually. So my sim racing team in their current guise is called Enterprise Pulsars, and so anybody who knows, like, my name is James Kirk, right? That's as easy a reference as you're going to get in the world of sci-fi. And so I'm like, Enterprise sounds cool, and then I'm like, oh, but it's e-racing now, it's esports. Let's make it esportsy. And so like, what's spacey? What could we be? Like, what could we be like an American Pulsars? Done. It's nice and simple, nice and easy. And I'll tell you what, I've got to apologise to you because you were bang on the money with the accurate gap. Nikodem Wisniewski lies 13.5 seconds behind race leader.
Yeah, we might have got confused with who we were referencing it to, but extremely close right now. What I find interesting is what you were talking about, how they're thinking of abandoning possibly that strategy to make the extra pit stop. Why not do both? Not make the extra pit stop. You know what I mean.
Because they're in a good position, though. If I'm pure
but they could
pace,
be in a better position.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But I think it's the risk factor of trying to go that far. Because by trying to go that far, you are potentially unnecessarily trying to save fuel, trying to save tires. I can see why they are heavily considering, if not already chosen, to go back onto a more regular strategy from here on out.
Yeah.
Because if they're allowed to go flat out, I mean, again, they're 14 seconds off the lead. They are in with a chance of winning this race.
100%. Another person in a chance of at least making progress is Max Verstappen. He's 6 seconds away from Alex Siebel. Now we know Alex, of course, in that ACR Zaxby's car is, once Michi Hoyer jumped out, you know, the stop-go, the fuel issue, now they've lost a bit of momentum. I don't want to say they lost motivation, definitely not that, but morale will certainly be down, and that's where as team managers and as teammates need to pick each other up and try to pick up the pieces here. They're still in the top 10, but when you have one of the best drivers in the world hunting you down, it doesn't make the task any easier. You don't have time to lament your mistakes, don't have time to regret the past. None of that kind of stuff. You just got to move on. Verstappen right behind Paul Holt. He does that a lot. He creeps in on the exits, and he's very confident in his ability not to hit the cars ahead. But last lap round, Verstappen set a 1 minute 46.495. Quick lap time, of course, as well for this stage of the race. The ACR Zaxby's car, a full 0.6 of a second slower in the 47s. So Verstappen hunting down Alex Siebel, now 5.5 seconds behind the driver. That is your closest scrap in your LMP2 field, and ironically, your top 3, after almost 6 hours of racing, 5.5 to be exact, are only separated by 14 seconds.
Top 5 separated by 50. I mean, even that in itself is
incredible.
What a treat.
Did I just say the same word, Jinx? Did I jinx you?
We really did jinx each other. That's a bad omen. It's a good thing that we're wrapping up in about 20 minutes for us two at least. Oh, what's that I'm teasing? A different pairing coming your way for the next stints. You'll find out in 20 minutes, won't you? But anyway, yeah, it's definitely at that phase of the race where everything is just, it's calmed down a bit. There's no real close battles on track. I guess what we could go over is how many people are on the same lap in each class, and so in terms of the GTE class, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we've still got 6 cars in GTE on the same lap. In GT3, it's a bit of a different story. I lied, I was looking at the wrong number. 1, 2, 3, there's 3 still on the same lap. It's a bit offset because Simply Race's Jack Ashton.
Chyba będę za 2 minuty, dosłownie, na Discordzie. Może zacznę.
Kaczka O'Connor. Sed. Czyj to jest w prawdziwości?
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I mean, Lopez right now is in the pit. So you've left me in a tough little pickle there, James.
Have I?
Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on right now. It looks like the field is spread out. Everything's stagnant. Racing's going all right.
Racing's happening.
I feel like I need to expound on another story from my sim racing past. I'm just trying to think what to tell.
Am I like the Scrooge to your like ghosts of sim racing past?
Well, I mean, you could be. I have an abundance of stories I'm willing to share. Some of them I won't. They're a bit too
rambunctious.
Well, rambunctious is one word, but I think I just have too much respect to share them. It's like that Lewis Hamilton thing where if I got to write a book in like 10 years or something to share it. The funniest thing I have, and as I said, I don't condone drinking while driving, but there is a driver I know. I don't know if he still sim races anymore. Who did drive a race, World Championship race, intoxicated, and finished I think 7th. And when I say intoxicated, he's finished, so definitely drank a few.
He's finished.
Well, I don't condone that at all. It's a very controversial story.
We've absolutely covered that already. But I mean,
it's against the law. It's against the law.
It is against the law. I've come across sim racers in the past, certainly, who've had some units taken in before the race, and actually, one of my good friends who will not be named said that the relaxing effect, and again, we don't condone this, but the relaxing effect actually helped him in terms of nerves for the race and made him drive better. It must be stressed. It was a very light amount. Very light. Not any of the hard stuff. Very light amount. But I kind of get where it's coming from. Like, especially, I mean, goodness me. Looking at this.
To jest prawdziwość. A ja będę u ciebie na tym, to sobie pogadamy? No to już będę.
Plus a load of other bells and whistles added on, right? That's a nice amount of money. You're underneath the spotlight. It's one of our Factor 2s. It's one of Studio 397's first major esports events as we look to ramp up activities for 2019. Yeah, you're going to be nervous if you are relatively new to this scale of the scene, which is why I think the Team Rookie squad is doing so well.
Cześć.
Being P5 in the first place. It's a huge testament to the courage that they're showing out there. But yeah, that is an interesting topic. How do you, or how have you in the past,
co tam?
No właśnie. Czekaj, ja ścieżę to źródło chyba w jakiś sposób, albo w ogóle mam pomysł lepszy. Różnica głośności. Nie, OBS-a wyciszę, żeby mi nie ten, bo trochę mi zagłusza cię. Co tam? Co masz na myśli, że to jest... Co? O co chodziło ci z tym, co to jest w prawdziwości? No to jest Factor 2. No. Znaczy, zacznijmy od tego, że to jest sim. W tym są wiele z takich rzeczy, jakby udających wyścigi, które są w realu. Polacy jadą. Aha. O. O. Mam CS-ów wszystkich. Nie, Forza nie mam. Ale i tak to nie umiem grać. A, też mam. 1.6 górą. Resort był już trochę dziwny, znaczy był wywrotką, jeżeli chodzi o to, co się tam działo, fizykę i w ogóle. Co? Nie, no 1.6 jest, że tak to ujmę, drewniany trochę i trudny, a w 1.6 było właśnie wywrotką, jeżeli chodzi o fizykę i to, jak ludzie latali od dostania kulą czy coś takiego. O. No, ja zdemontowałem to, co miałem. Stoi. Pewnie tak. Co może być innego? I kółka nie będę miał sprawnego, to pewnie będą takie rzeczy. Nie wiem, jak ja to URL zrobię, bo są masakra. Poważnie ginę przy URL-ach. Znaczy trudne nie, ale są męczące trochę. Te zakręty w ogóle. Znaczy szczególnie te na lotnisku są już dopiero męczące, bo tam są te zakręty powalone. A ja już mam te z tymi nawrotami ostrymi, co tam jest. Przed metą masz 2 nawroty. Spoko. Spoko. Na multi? Game Ranger. My gramy na US-ie 1.2. Jest tam. Tak. Wszystko jest. Wszystko jest na NFS U2 Help. Taki kanał jest. Ten tekstowy. Pierwszy link jest do Undergrounda, drugi jest do Kraka, a trzeci jest tam na samym dole jest do Game Rangera. No, mamy z neta. Tam nawet link jest, że to z neta. Nie, próbuj zainstalować i zarejestrować się. I to ci sam namierzy, że masz Undergrounda zainstalowanego. A jak nie... Zarejestrować. Tam trzeba się zarejestrować konto na tym jeszcze. Tak, spoko. Okej. Spoko. A, no to wszystko jasne, to się nie ten. Masz to się przegłosować. What the fuck? Co? Nie, dlaczego? Leci z tego, to leci ze źródła, prosto. O, Max Verstappena pokazują. Ciekawe kiedy we wszystkich zacznie wjeżdżać. Nie, chyba nie. Nie, znaczy nie. Ciężko by było przetargać wszystkie ludzi z Team Ligi na jedną salę przez pół świata. No dobra, ale w LoL'a co potrzebujesz? Klawiaturę, myszkę. No właśnie. A tutaj masz całe stelaże z kierownicami, pedałami i z całym tym ustrojstwem, które ważą nieraz po parędziesiąt kilo. To jest tam, że wpisujesz kod zaproszeniowy, jak ktoś go ma, ale nikt nie wie po co to jest i co to w sumie daje, więc możesz to olać. Tak, tak. A za 6 minut wyłączam streama i zmontuję to, co mam na dzisiaj zmontować. Ja za 6 minut wyłączam streama generalnie i będę montował to, co mam na dzisiaj montować. Okej. Nie, mówię, że ogólnie do widzów i do ciebie, że tam za 6 minut gaszę tego streama, bo będę montował film na dzisiaj. A nie chcę, żeby mi tam coś przybijał dźwięk z montażu, poza tym procek będzie dostało po tyłku. Jak będzie się renderowało później? Później będzie G2 gdzieś tam, nie wiem, zobaczę jeszcze kiedy. 15, 20? Właśnie mówię, 19-20 około pewnie. A. Spoko. A co tam, masz Select Use City? A to pewnie chodzi, że serwer, żeby ci wybrało odpowiedni serwer tego, to tam wybierz swój City. Najbliższe chyba możesz wybrać, nie pamiętam jak to działało już dokładnie. To jest najbliżej ciebie, masz wybrać. Chyba nawet nie tylko była Warszawa, nie pamiętam, albo... Każdy ma chyba najbliżej, poza tam granicami, no najwyżej. Tam chyba tak. Nie jestem pewien, ale chyba tak. Dobra, to teraz trzeba zaplodować zdjęcie, co mam wysłać. Nie, teraz jeszcze nie. Skończę streama, to zacznę montować. Nie, będę siedział pewnie jeszcze. Chyba. Gdzie jest Google Drive? Nie, do wielu gier. Battlefield niektóre i NFS Most Wanted. Jest ciężko będzie to bo tam jest strasznie dużo. Tam jest ponad 500, jak nie 700 gier około. tam obsługiwanych, więc trochę ciężko będzie to wszystko wymienić. Także ten. Teraz szukasz pokoju, dołączasz się do niego, jak tam nie ma tej, to ci jak lider pokoju odpali odpali grę, to wszystkim odpali automatycznie, teoretycznie. Powinno, nie wiem. Chociaż nie zawsze to działa. Z jakiegoś powodu. Nie wiem po co jest ta skoro ona działa przecież bez tego, jak ma ktoś oryginał. Ale okej. O, to najwyżej chyba, że tak. No ja mam Steam. To było... Jeju, pamiętam, dostałem to kiedyś do grafiki. Serio? No, do mojej słowetnej 7600 GT kiedyś dostałem z Lissema 2. Zawsze zapominam, jak to się nazywała ta grafa, muszę sobie przypomnieć. No, to chyba... Chyba też Elite 2 był, kurde, pamiętam, co przypomniał. Dobra, jest 17. Ja kończę streama. Do zobaczenia na następnym UG2 dzisiaj, więc... No i oczywiście na filmie o 18. Cześć.